Today I'll demonstrate the turkey work stitch. It can be done in a single line to create fringe, like the green fringe on the edge of this blanket, or it can be done in multiple lines to create an area of fluffy texture. Turkey work is basically a series of loops that are secured by tiny stitches, and then you cut and trim the loops at the end. To start, go down through the fabric at the beginning of the line. And I'm just going to leave a short tail here. You can see it's not knotted or anything. That's sort of like starting with a half of a loop. Then, to lock that one in place, just in front of it and slightly to the left, I'm going to make a very tiny little stitch. And all that does is make this tail not move. Then to make our first loop, we're going to come up through the same hole that we went down with to make the first tail. We're going to go down next to it. You can do a stitch length, you can do long or short. I'm doing a small line here, so I'm going to keep my loops pretty close together. And don't pull it all the way through because we want to leave a loop, roughly the same length as that first tail. So now to lock that loop in place, I'm going to go down to the end of my first little securing stitch and just make another tiny stitch. And those won't really show up when we're done. They're just here to keep these loops in place. You can decide how long to make your loops, small loops for a short fringe or fluff, or longer for a more shaggy length. And it's fine for the lengths of the loops to be a bit uneven because they're going to be trimmed at the end. So now we're just going to repeat. Come up at the end of the last loop to make another loop, then make another tiny stitch to secure it, another loop, another securing stitch. I'll stop here, but if you wanted to fill an area, you'd keep going to make multiple lines of this. And you can see that we have our loops roughly along the line, and then we have these tiny securing stitches below them that will be hidden by the fringe or by the texture. So now is the fun part. Now you're going to just take scissors and cut through each of your loops. After you cut through each loop, then you can just trim it to the desired length. So you could leave it long and crazy. In this case, I'm going to try to cut it fairly evenly and short. One thing that helps when you have big areas of this is the little kind of spoolie brush that you might have from an old mascara or eyebrow pencil. You can use it to either fluff up your texture or to flatten down your texture, and just trim it until it is as even as you want it to be. And so this single line shows you how you would create a line of fringe. Again, you could keep going if you wanted to do multiple lines to create an area of texture, and you can just flatten it down and it will lay nice after a couple of minutes. And that's turkey work. Thanks for watching.